Welcome back to part 3 of the most haunted places in the Empire State. And let me tell you, this state is huge. Like, I seriously need to start hiring a team. Paranormal investigators, ghost translators, and maybe even my own personal Uber driver. Because I can't keep chasing spirits from Buffalo to Brooklyn on my own. At this point, I've seen more haunted houses than I've seen my own family. Honestly, after some of these investigations, I find myself staring into the void, or sometimes a creepy antique mirror, and thinking, why didn't I stay in school? I could have been a doctor or a lawyer. Okay, maybe not a lawyer, I don't like arguing that much. But you get the idea. A nice, normal, respectable career where things don't whisper to you from the walls at 3 a.m. And then there are the nights when the ghosts really act up. And I start thinking, maybe I should have just started an OnlyFans account. I mean, it's less terrifying, right? Okay, maybe that might be even more terrifying. Anyway, if you've been with me since part 1 and 2, then you know New York doesn't play around when it comes to the paranormal. From cursed mansions to spooky cemeteries with ghosts that have more attitude than a subway rat, this state has enough haunted places to keep 10 ghost hunting shows in business for years. In this episode, we're diving even deeper into the shadows. So grab your sage, your EMF detector, and maybe a therapist on standby, because things are about to get real spooky. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because if I get possessed during this investigation, I want to make sure it's all caught on camera. Welcome to the most haunted places in New York, part 3. Let's do this, if I make it out alive. Welcome to Screamville. All right, folks. Our first stop takes us to one of New York's most iconic landmarks, the Statue of Liberty. This colossal symbol of freedom and democracy has stood tall in New York Harbor since 1886, welcoming millions of immigrants to the shores of America. But what if I told you that beneath its majestic exterior lies a darker, more mysterious side? Now, you might think a symbol of freedom and hope wouldn't exactly scream haunted, but trust me, even Lady Liberty has a few skeletons in her closet. Or should I say chains in her pedestal. The island on which she stands, Liberty Island, has a history that predates the statue itself. And it's this history that adds layers of intrigue and mystery. We're talking about an island with a history stretching back centuries, from its time as a military fort to its role as a beacon for immigrants. Before the statue was erected, the island was known as Bedloe's Island and served as a strategic military post. The remnants of Fort Wood, a star-shaped fort built in the early 19th century, still form the base of the statue today. Imagine the countless soldiers who lived and died on this island, their stories etched into the very stones of the fort. And then, consider the waves of immigrants who arrived, filled with hope and dreams, only to face the harsh realities of their new life. That's a lot of energy, a lot of emotions, and potentially a lot of lingering spirits. Park rangers and visitors alike have reported some seriously creepy occurrences on the island, things that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about this American icon. From strange lights flickering in the windows of the statue to the feeling of being watched, the island has an eerie atmosphere that can't be easily explained. We're talking unexplained footsteps echoing through the empty halls as if someone or something is still patrolling the grounds. These footsteps have been heard in areas that are supposed to be deserted, adding to the island's mystique. Disembodied voices whispering on the wind, often in languages that reflect the diverse origins of the immigrants who passed through. These voices are sometimes heard in the dead of night, when the island is at its most silent and still. And even full-on apparitions spotted out of the corner of the eye. These ghostly figures are often seen wearing historical clothing, adding to the sense that the past is never far away on Liberty Island. Some say it's the ghosts of soldiers stationed there, their spirits unable to leave the place they once defended. These spectral soldiers are often seen near the remnants of Fort Wood, as if still standing guard. Whatever the truth may be, one thing's for sure, there's more to Liberty Island than meets the eye. The island's rich history and the emotional weight it carries make it a hotspot for paranormal activity. Captain William Kidd was a Scottish privateer whose transformation into a pirate and subsequent execution have cemented his place in maritime lore. Initially commissioned by the English crown to hunt pirates, Kidd's capture of the Quedagh Merchant, a ship under English protection, led to his arrest and execution for piracy and murder in 1701. While the practice of pirates burying treasure is largely mythical, Kidd's story is a notable exception. He reportedly buried a cache of treasure on Gardiner's Island, New York, hoping to use it as leverage for a pardon. Additionally, legends suggest that Kidd attempted to hide plunder beneath Liberty Island, where the Statue of Liberty now stands. Kidd's legacy extends beyond historical accounts into the realm of folklore. His ghost is said to haunt various locations in New York Harbor, including Trinity Churchyard and the pedestal of the Statue of Liberty. So naturally, two adventurous young men decided to go full treasure hunter mode. According to legend, they'd barely gotten their shovels dirty when, bam, they struck wood. Jackpot, right? Just as they reached for what they were sure was their ticket to early retirement, things got weird, like horned demon breathing, sulfur in your face weird. Both men told the press they'd seen a freaky supernatural creature pop out of nowhere, kind of like a pirate-themed haunted house but with fewer safety regulations. Carpenter wisely took the every man for himself route and bolted. Gibbs, however, stood frozen like a deer in ghostly headlights. He later swore that the fiery apparition, possibly Captain Kidd himself, still salty about his lost gold, tossed him into the bay like a soggy rag doll. And just like that, poof! Both the demon and the treasure box vanished into thin, sulfur-scented air. So, does something still haunt Liberty Island? Who knows? But don't let that stop you from paying a visit to Lady Liberty. She's not just an icon, she's a great excuse to get some cardio in. Just maybe keep one eye on her pedestal. And if the air suddenly smells like rotten eggs, well, it might not just be the hot dog stand. Ellis Island is one of the most historically significant and eerily atmospheric locations in the United States. Best known as the gateway for over 12 million immigrants entering America from 1892 to 1954, it now holds a dual legacy, a symbol of hope and a hotbed for paranormal legends. Before it became known as the Island of Hope, Island of Tears, Ellis Island was little more than a small, muddy sandbank known as Oyster Island, used by the Lenape people and later the Dutch and British colonists. It was later named after Samuel Ellis, a colonial New Yorker who owned the land in the 1770s. By the late 1800s, Ellis Island was transformed into the United States' busiest immigration inspection station, especially during the peak years from 1892 to 1924. Immigrants were medically and legally inspected. About 2% were turned away, often due to health issues, criminal records, or other disqualifications. While the island symbolized a new life for millions, it was also a place of heartbreak. Many immigrants were detained for weeks or even quarantined in the island's hospital complex, a massive facility with 22 medical buildings. These areas saw deaths from tuberculosis, typhus, and other diseases, along with mental health evaluations, which often led to families being separated. Over 3,500 people died on the island during its years as an immigration station. For many, it was the final stop. With a blend of intense human emotion, death, and abandonment, it's no surprise that Ellis Island is believed to be haunted, especially its abandoned hospital complex, which is off-limits to the general public but available for special tours. Paranormal investigators and visitors have reported hearing footsteps, coughing, and crying, especially near the morgue and psychiatric wards. Some say they see a woman in an old nurse's uniform still tending to the sick. In recent years, French artist J.R. installed ghostly images of immigrants within the ruins of the hospital as part of a photographic art exhibit. These haunting visuals only amplified the spectral atmosphere, drawing attention to the island's ghostly reputation. Today, Ellis Island is a museum and part of the Statue of Liberty National Monument, visited by over 3 million people a year. However, only a small portion of the hospital complex is open to the public via private tours, often described as surreal, sobering, and chilling. The island is believed to be haunted because of massive human suffering, from illness, separation, and rejection, deaths from disease in the medical wards, and emotional energy left behind by those seeking a better life. Abandoned, decaying buildings with untouched personal artifacts and a blend of history and tragedy makes it a perfect storm for hauntings. Deep in the heart of Albany, perched atop State Street like a Gothic crown jewel, stands the New York State Capitol building, a structure so elaborate it took over 32 years, 5 architects, and a bucket load of political drama to complete. Finished in 1899, the building cost more than the U.S. Capitol and still never got its grand dome. Why? Well, maybe because it was already full of spirits, bad luck, and one very sassy demon that didn't want extra company. Designed in a mashup of architectural styles, Italian Renaissance, Romanesque, and what in the Gothic Frankenstein is this? The Capitol quickly developed a reputation not just for its beauty, but for its paranormal tenets. It's been called one of the most haunted buildings in New York State, and let's just say, not all of the lawmakers hanging around there are alive. Perhaps the most famous ghost story tied to the Capitol is that of Samuel Abbott, an elderly night watchman who met a tragic fate during the 1911 fire that tore through the building. Poor Sam, a dedicated employee, was so loyal to his job that even flames couldn't make him leave his post. His body was found among the ashes of the State Library, and rumor has it he never clocked out. Staff and visitors still report seeing an old man wandering the halls late at night, keys jangling, always checking to make sure doors are locked. Honestly, I think that Abbott deserves a raise, ghost or not. Now let's talk about that demon in the Capitol. Yes, demon. Tucked away in a stone staircase known as the $1 Million Staircase. Not a joke, that's the actual name. Is a bizarre and sinister carving that locals and ghost enthusiasts swear is a demonic face. Surrounded by 77 stone heads, some carved from real-life models, this one face doesn't look quite human. Some say it was slipped in by a disgruntled stonecutter as a prank or a curse. Others claim it's a demonic spirit, trapped in stone, cursed to eternally watch lawmakers struggle to pass bills. This leads us to the Capitol Curse, a legend that claims misfortune follows those who mock or meddle with the darker energies of the building. Over the decades, mysterious deaths, freak accidents, and even strange health issues have plagued those who worked there. One former staffer allegedly developed vertigo every time he entered the building. Coincidence? Or demons' petty revenge? Either way, it's cheaper than hiring security. The ghostly activity isn't limited to one wing. Staff have reported phantom footsteps, slamming doors, cold spots, and even voices echoing through empty chambers. One woman said she saw a Victorian-era lady glide right through a locked door like she had a VIP pass to the other side. And honestly, with the way Albany politics run, a few extra ghost votes might explain a lot. Of course, no haunted government building would be complete without haunted elevators. Yes, the elevators in the Capitol have a mind of their own, opening and closing on empty floors, carrying no one, at least no one visible, and occasionally playing a little elevator roulette with people trying to leave after hours. One intern swore the elevator whispered his name. He quit on the spot and now works at a smoothie shop in Poughkeepsie. So whether you're into politics, ghosts, or cursed staircases with surprise demons, the New York State Capitol building delivers. It's one of those rare places where you can lose your way in both the bureaucratic red tape and the veil between worlds. And if you ever find yourself wandering the halls at night and hear the faint jingle of keys behind you, just remember to say, "Good evening, Mr. Abbott." It's only polite. Sitting on the serene green island of Lake George, the Sagamore Hotel opened its doors in 1883, thanks to the vision of hotel operator Myron O. Brown and the financial backing of 4 Philadelphia millionaires. Designed in the opulent Queen Anne style by Wilson Brothers and Company, the resort quickly became a haven for the affluent, offering electric lighting, a novelty at the time, and a plethora of leisure activities. Its name, the Sagamore, was inspired by a Native American character in James Fenimore Cooper's novel, The Last of the Mohicans. However, the hotel's early years were anything but smooth sailing. In 1893, a devastating fire reduced the original structure to ashes. Undeterred, the proprietors rebuilt, only to face another fiery calamity in 1914. The third iteration of the Sagamore rose in 1921, thanks to a group of investors including Dr. William G. Beckers and Adolph Ochs, the owner of the New York Times. Architect Robert Rhinelander oversaw the reconstruction, ensuring the resort's grandeur was restored. Throughout the 20th century, the Sagamore thrived as a social hub for the elite, even during the Great Depression. However, by 1981, the hotel had fallen into disrepair and closed its doors. In 1983, Philadelphia real estate developer Norman Wolgan purchased the property and embarked on a $75 million restoration project. Today, the Sagamore is managed by Ocean Properties and continues to offer luxurious accommodations, but beyond its opulent facade lies a reputation for the supernatural. The Sagamore is considered one of America's most haunted hotels, with numerous reports of ghostly encounters. Guests and staff have reported sightings of a woman in a pinkish-brown dress named Lillian who gazes out over the lake from the porch. Another spirit, dubbed Walter, is known to frequent the elevator and card room, dressed in a brown, three-piece suit and sporting a thick mustache. Perhaps the most mischievous of all is the ghost of a young boy from the 1950s who is said to play pranks on golfers by stealing their balls and laughing gleefully as he tosses them around. These spectral residents add an eerie charm to the resort, making it a hotspot for paranormal enthusiasts. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Sagamore remains a beloved destination. Its rich history, luxurious amenities, and picturesque setting continue to attract visitors from around the world. Whether you're seeking a relaxing getaway or a brush with the supernatural, the Sagamore offers an experience that's both enchanting and spine-tingling. So if you ever find yourself in Bolton Landing, consider a stay at the Sagamore. Just be prepared for the possibility of sharing your room with a ghostly guest, or at least a missing golf ball. After all, at the Sagamore, the line between history and hauntings is delightfully blurred. Burn Bray Mansion, nestled in Glen Spey, New York, is a storied estate renowned for its rich history and reputed hauntings. Built in 1908 by Margaret Ross Mackenzie Elkin, daughter of George Ross Mackenzie, the third president of the Singer Sewing Machine Company. The mansion was one of 7 summer homes constructed by Mackenzie's children. Today, only 3 of these grand residences remain, with Burn Bray being one of them. The mansion is believed to have been designed by Henry J. Hardenberg, the architect behind iconic structures like the Plaza Hotel and the Dakota in New York City. In the decades that followed, Burn Bray transitioned through various uses. It served as a boarding house, a retreat center, and was even considered as a potential location for a cult, according to local rumors. It later fell into disrepair before being restored and opened for paranormal investigations and overnight stays. Burn Bray Mansion has garnered a reputation as one of the most haunted locations in the Northeast. Guests and investigators have reported numerous unexplained phenomena, such as apparitions of a woman in white and a man in period attire, disembodied children's voices and organ music, despite the absence of an organ. These accounts have been documented by various paranormal investigators, including South Jersey Ghost Research, which captured over 180 photos and audio recordings during a 3-day investigation. The house is believed to have several spirits. One is believed to be Elsie Elkin, the 4-year-old daughter of Charles and Margaret, who died in 1893 before the house was built. Levi, a grandchild who died at birth in 1940. An elderly couple, the Hoppies, who passed away in the mansion in 2005 and 2006. Guests have reported seeing them playing chess by the window, hearing classical music, and smelling fresh baking. Today, Burn Bray Mansion operates as a bed and breakfast, offering guests the opportunity to experience its haunted history firsthand. The property hosts murder mystery dinners, paranormal investigations, and the annual Dark Forest Fright Trail, a Halloween tradition celebrating over 30 years. The mansion has been featured in various media outlets, including Ghost Hunters, Ghost Nation, and People magazine. The mansion also has an antique Ouija board collection and a room filled with haunted dolls, adding to its creepy aesthetic. It's not for the faint of heart. All right, we're about to embark on a journey through one of the most legendary cemeteries in America. Sitting in the quaint village of Sleepy Hollow, New York, lies a cemetery so steeped in history and spectral lore that even the bravest ghost hunters might reconsider their career choices. Established in 1849, Sleepy Hollow Cemetery is the eternal resting place of Washington Irving, the literary mastermind behind The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Irving's tale of the headless horseman galloping through the night has forever intertwined the cemetery with eerie legends and ghostly whispers. But Irving isn't the only notable figure taking up permanent residence here. The cemetery also hosts the likes of industrialist Andrew Carnegie, labor leader Samuel Gompers, and cosmetics mogul Elizabeth Arden. It's as if the cemetery decided to become a posthumous who's who of American history. One can only imagine the spirited debates during the afterlife social hours. The cemetery's haunting reputation isn't solely due to its famous inhabitants. Local lore speaks of a spectral figure known as the Bronze Lady, a statue that, according to legend, brings misfortune to those who disrespect her. Some claim to have seen her eyes glow or her expression change, though skeptics suggest it's just the play of shadows, or perhaps the result of one too many ghost tours. Speaking of tours, the cemetery offers lantern-lit walks that promise chills and thrills. Visitors have reported unexplained cold spots, mysterious whispers, and the occasional feeling of being watched. Whether these experiences are paranormal or just the result of an overactive imagination is up for debate, but they certainly add to the cemetery's mystique. The old Dutch church adjacent to the cemetery is another hotspot for supernatural enthusiasts. Dating back to the late 17th century, this church is one of the oldest in New York and features prominently in Irving's tale. Some visitors claim to have seen ghostly apparitions in colonial attire, perhaps lingering parishioners who didn't get the memo about moving on. Interestingly, the cemetery's design reflects the 19th century rural cemetery movement, emphasizing natural landscapes and serene beauty. It's a place where the living can find peace and the dead can enjoy scenic views. A win-win, really. The winding paths and towering trees create an atmosphere that's both tranquil and, let's be honest, a tad spooky at dusk. Over the years, the cemetery has embraced its haunted reputation. Events like the Great Jack-o'-lantern Blaze and Halloween-themed tours draw crowds eager to experience a touch of the macabre. It's tourism with a twist. Where else can you enjoy a festive evening and potentially meet a ghost? Of course, not all spirits are content with mere sightings. Some tales speak of mischievous ghosts who play pranks on visitors, like moving personal items or causing sudden gusts of wind. While these stories are unverified, they add a layer of playful intrigue to the cemetery's lore. Despite, or perhaps because of, its spectral residents, Sleepy Hollow Cemetery remains a beloved landmark. It's a place where history, literature, and legend converge, offering visitors a unique glimpse into America's haunted heritage. Whether you're a history buff, a fan of the supernatural, or just someone looking for a picturesque stroll, the cemetery has something to offer. So if you ever find yourself in Sleepy Hollow, take a moment to visit the cemetery. Pay your respects to the notable figures interred there, enjoy the serene surroundings, and keep an eye out for any headless horsemen. After all, in a place where the line between fact and folklore blurs, you never know what or who you might encounter. Now let's talk about the Buffalo Central Terminal, a place where the train stopped running, but the ghosts never did. This towering Art Deco marvel in Buffalo, New York, has been called one of the most haunted spots in western New York. Built in 1929, it was once a bustling hub for over 200 trains and 10,000 passengers daily. The terminal's decline began in the mid-20th century, leading to its closure in 1979. Since then, the building has become a hotspot for paranormal enthusiasts. Visitors have reported hearing disembodied voices, seeing shadowy figures, and experiencing sudden drops in temperature. One of the most talked about spirits is a woman named Rose, who reportedly has a strong dislike for men. She's been known to make her presence felt during ghost tours, especially when male visitors are present. Another spectral resident is a mysterious black cat that appears and disappears without a trace. Some believe it's the spirit of a former station cat, still making its rounds. Despite its haunted status, efforts have been made to restore the terminal. The Central Terminal Restoration Corporation has been working to bring new life to the building, hosting concerts, historical tours, and community events. Yet, even with renovations, the spirits seem reluctant to leave. Some say the ghosts are just waiting for a train that will never come. Others believe they're simply enjoying the events and company. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, the Buffalo Central Terminal offers a unique blend of history and mystery. Just remember, if you visit, don't be surprised if you feel a cold breeze or hear a whisper when no one's around. Goodleburg Cemetery in South Wales, New York is truly a low-key graveyard, about 1.5 acres. Opened in 1811 and closed to new burials in the 1920s. Owned by the town of Wales and tucked off a quiet road. The original settlers, mostly German or Anglo immigrants, and a few Civil War vets, lie here, some probably victims of an 1830s cholera epidemic. Goodleburg's roughly 100 or so graves belong to humble folk. Blairs, Calkins, Coreys, Doster, etc. Many died young of routine 19th century ailments. Today, very few headstones remain. It's really small enough that if anyone stages a seance, the neighbors can hear it. Fast forward to the late 1990s, when this inconspicuous patch of dirt suddenly got its spotlight. paranormal buffs began parading carloads of investigators down the hill at night. Guttleberg became the local social media darling of hauntings. Ghost hunters with EMF detectors and night vision cameras set up shop among the headstones. Now let's talk about the legends. The best-known tale involves a Dr. Guttleberg who, the rumor goes, performed illegal surgeries on the sly and buried the victims, women and unborn children, in the cemetery. There's even talk of a lady in white specter, said to be one of his ill-fated patients, eternally searching the graves. And of course, no self-respecting haunted tale is complete without the requisite apparitions and orbs. Visitors claim that the spirit of a lady in white stalks the grounds at night. Kids supposedly play around the stones as diminutive ghost children, their cries echoing through the trees. Cameras often capture mysterious glowing orbs floating in the darkness, the classic, possibly dust orbs, that fuel every cemetery myth. In short, Guttleberg has become a showcase of haunted cliches. The lady in white, the spectral kid, orbs and fog effects, all the ingredients for a campfire story. It's as if someone put a haunted house kit on clearance sale. Then there are the hellhounds. Local legend warns of bar guests, big black dogs with glowing red eyes, prowling between the tombstones. It's said that people driving by at night have swerved to avoid these phantom pups and never found any carcass on the road. And yes, adherents also love the old curse angle. They claim that removing even a pebble from Guttleberg will bring misfortune or even death. Allegedly, transgressors freak out and return the stolen item just to be safe. The town's word to would-be vandals is blunt. It's illegal to take anything. Take the one solid ghost story Guttleberg has, an actual death. In 2003, a young paranormal investigator named Robert Carr was struck and killed by a car on his way out of the cemetery late at night. That tragedy prompted the town of Wales to crack down. Guttleberg is officially off limits after dark. Visit after sunset these days, and you risk arrest, which is far more frightening than any ghost tour talk. In fact, signs now sternly warn that no one is allowed past dusk. The cemetery has even earned a niche. Some call it the most haunted cemetery you've never heard of. So next time you drive by Guttleberg, remember to keep it respectful. New York City, the land of bagels, Broadway, and bodies in wells. In the winter of 1799, the Big Apple played host to its first sensational murder case, the mysterious death of 22-year-old Gulielma Elma Sands. Elma, a young Quaker woman with a scandalous tendency to wear stylish bonnets, vanished one chilly December night after telling her boarding house she was off to marry Levi Weeks, her not-so-secret lover. Elma's body was discovered weeks later at the bottom of the Manhattan Well, which was basically an 18th-century version of a crime scene waiting to happen. Located on what's now 129 Spring Street, the well was deep, dark, and unfortunately convenient for disposing of, problems. Her corpse, frozen stiff, raised more eyebrows than a Broadway drama. How did she get there? Did she trip? Was she pushed? Was it ghosts already at work? Naturally, all eyes turned to Levi Weeks, a promising young carpenter and brother of the incredibly rich and well-connected Ezra Weeks. Levi claimed innocence, but the fact that he was the last person to see Elma alive, and that she claimed they were about to elope, didn't do him any favors. In modern terms, Levi was about 2 red flags short of a 4th of July parade. Levi's trial became the trial of the century, or at least of the century's first year. It was the first recorded murder trial in U.S. history to be fully documented. And what a show it was. Levi had a legal dream team that would make Johnny Cochran sweat, Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. That's right, the 2 future duelists joined forces before shooting each other to save this possibly guilty dude from the noose. Despite strong circumstantial evidence, Levi was acquitted in just 5 minutes. 5 minutes. That's faster than ordering a latte in Soho today. Some say it was the persuasive power of Hamilton's arguments. Others point to Burr's swagger, but most agree it was the sheer amount of money and influence behind Levi. Poor Elma didn't stand a chance against privilege wrapped in a powdered wig. After his dramatic acquittal, Levi wisely fled town like someone who definitely didn't want to bump into any angry ghosts or, angry townspeople. He moved to Mississippi, changed his name, and built a successful life. Legend has it he was never quite the same, though, haunted not by spirits, but perhaps by guilt, and possibly Elma herself. Because Elma Sands was denied justice in this life, she reportedly decided to take matters into her own spectral hands. Locals began whispering that the well was cursed. Visitors to the building, which would later house a department store because of course it did, claimed to hear cries, feel cold drafts, and even see the ghostly form of a young woman, always looking wet, always looking betrayed. By the 1800s, the well was capped and hidden beneath a series of buildings. But no amount of brickwork could keep Elma's spirit down. Employees over the years claimed to feel watched. One poor clerk swore the elevator would stop on floors no one had requested. Ghosts, it turns out, do not care for modern convenience. In the 1900s, a fancy department store stood on the site. Shoppers and workers alike had tales of lights flickering, whispers in the dark, and phantom footsteps. One unlucky janitor even claimed to see a woman in old-fashioned clothes vanish through a wall. In the 1980s, during renovations, the well was rediscovered. Because New York City can't go 5 minutes without finding a historical horror beneath its floorboards. The well is now preserved in the basement of the building at 129 Spring Street, and occasionally featured on ghost tours. It's like Antiques Roadshow, but with a side of murder. Today, ghost hunters, history buffs, and Instagram influencers all flock to the Manhattan Well. Some bring EMF detectors, others bring oat milk lattes, but many walk away with stories of chills, strange feelings, or camera malfunctions, which, let's be real, could also be blamed on T-Mobile's service in basements. Still, it's hard to deny the eerie vibe of the place. Elma Sands never got her happily ever after. And while Levi got off the hook, the legend of the Manhattan Well ensures that Elma's story is never forgotten. So the next time you're in Soho and feel a chill go down your spine, or your latte spills for no reason, just remember, Elma's still here, waiting for justice, and maybe still a little annoyed about being stood up at the altar. And just like that, we've survived another round of New York's creepiest corners. From haunted cemeteries to statues that probably whisper at night when nobody's looking, we've been through it. You've stuck with me through cold chills, goosebumps, and that one moment when I was 99.9% sure something was breathing down my neck, and it wasn't the wind. We've talked about the tragic tale of the woman in the well because apparently, haunted houses just aren't enough anymore. Now the ghosts have plumbing. And yes, we even made it all the way to the Statue of Liberty. Bet you didn't expect her to show up in a ghost story, did you? Lady Liberty out here hiding spirits behind those 7 spikes. Now if you're thinking, okay, this has to be the end, right? Oh no, my friend, I still have one more round in me. One more ghost tour through the darkest, most bone-chilling places New York has to offer. You thought 3 parts would be enough to cover this haunted jungle? Ha! New York said, you thought wrong. There are places I still haven't taken you to. Ghosts who are probably mad they didn't make the cut yet. Paranormal activity that's practically begging for a spotlight. And trust me, we're going deeper. I've still got some locations that make even me question if I should be doing this. Which of course means I absolutely will. If you've enjoyed this spooky roller coaster so far, hit that like button like it's a ghost popping out of a wall. Smash that subscribe like you're sealing a haunted well shut. And don't forget to comment your favorite haunted moment, especially if it was when I nearly ran for my life at a shadow that turned out to be a pigeon. New York pigeons are built different. Part 4 is coming, y'all. Bigger ghosts, darker stories, and even more questionable decisions on my part because hey, what's a little danger in the name of spooky content? I'm in too deep now. Way too deep. So until next time, keep your lights on, your EMF readers ready, and remember, if something tugs your sleeve in the middle of the night, it's probably just me, dragging you back in for the next haunted adventure. See you in part 4.